What's up, everybody? Khaled Iwamura here from insauga.com and inthehammer.com. I am here with the newly elected, newly appointed, well, I guess not appointed, newly elected Mayor of Hamilton, Andrea Horwath. How you doing? Congratulations.
Thanks, Khaled. Nice to see you.
Good seeing you too. So let's get right to the questions. I'm going to start off with the sewage that ran into the Hamilton Harbour, 337 million litres over 26 years, undetected. Take us through the discovery and what you guys are doing about it now.
Well, it's something that is very troubling, I think, for all Hamiltonians to see another sewage leak into our harbour. So we took it very seriously. The staff identified that there was something not right in a kind of historic video that they were looking at in order to plan for work that's in the future, that's coming soon to the same area. And they noticed something that was off on a video from 2014, if I'm not mistaken, was where the video was from. So they sent a field of inspectors out to have a look at the site and found what, I mean, we were calling it a leak, but it was a purposely made hole because contractors back in 2026 or 19 or listen to me 26 years ago took 1996, I think it was, but anyways, took the work that they were doing and connected two pipes that weren't supposed to be connected, basically taking a sewer pipe into a stormwater pipe, and it wasn't supposed to be that way. So when they discovered that, right away, they brought in the equipment to make sure that they stopped the leak. And I found out about it a couple of hours after it happened. I think it happened around 11 o'clock in the morning. By 3:30 or so, I was being briefed. They had already stopped material from leaking into the harbor. And within a couple of days, they fixed it. I don't know if it's a permanent fix at this point, but it's certainly been fixed, and everybody's been notified in the neighborhood. It was a number of homes that were discharging into these wastewater pipes, and that's what happened. So where we are now is the Ministry of the Environment, and I've spoken to Minister Piccini, is preparing compliance orders or orders for the city to do something. We don't know quite what yet. We have a very old, I think it's the second oldest in the country, a water system, and the second or third oldest wastewater system. And it's a combined system, which makes it very complicated. I don't want to get into too many details, but it needs a lot of work. And so I think nobody wanted to see this happen again. That's for sure. I certainly didn't want to see this happen again. What we did differently this time, though, is got right on the provision of information to the public, because the public deserves to know. And I made that commitment when I was elected. When I find something out, I'm gonna let you know. I mean, that we're all in it together. We're all Hamiltonians, and we have to deal with these things in an upfront way with the community. So now we're waiting for the order. What we do know, though, and what I've indicated to Minister Piccini is that we're going to need help from the province and the federal government, frankly, to help us bring our systems up to standard, because it's very, very expensive work. But we all have an obligation to do exactly that, to protect our assets, our environmental assets, right? So our harbor, our water, our environment writ large, our ecosystems, all of these things are extremely important when we are dealing with the climate crisis that we're in, and so we're hoping for some help in addressing it.
Now, is there a kind of a discovery team or a research team to see if no other areas have any type of sewage leak in Hamilton?
Well, we do annual kind of we have an annual process of reviewing the infrastructure that we have, but we have literally over 1,000 kilometers of pipe under the ground. That takes a lot of effort, and so at the rate that we are able to do that currently, it'll take years and years and years and years to look at everything. And you can imagine by the time you get to the end of that process, you're starting all over again because so much time has gone by. So that when I say we need help from the other orders of government, it's to help us expedite perhaps a review of the underground infrastructure that we have, as well as helping with remediation if there are things that have happened on the environment side, and construction costs for fixing of problems that we find.
Cool. Let's talk about Bill 23. Okay, More Homes Built Faster Act 2022. How much will taxes go up if this bill is not modified?
Well, what we just heard from our staff yesterday is the order of magnitude for Hamilton just on the development charge changes is about $25 million. And that money, that cost, that goes directly to Hamilton property taxpayers. It is completely inappropriate to shift the costs onto the property taxpayers, and so I've heard that that the Premier has decided to help Toronto with their problems when it comes to these changes that Bill 23 brings. I'm hoping that there's equity for all of the municipalities, including Hamilton, because these funds are meant to pay for infrastructure that is necessary to bring new development or to bring growth. And so the principle has always been that growth should pay for growth, and that's what development charges do. They say that so that the existing taxpayer, if you will, existing residents of Hamilton aren't paying for the infrastructure of the new residents that are coming with the new subdivisions and the new growth. That's a pretty basic principle. But Bill 23 changes that all around and shifts the cost to today's taxpayer, if you will, today's property taxpayer, to pay for the future growth. And it's not appropriate. And so we'll see where the government's prepared to go in terms of making municipalities whole, if you will. But that 25 million could be going to helping our underground infrastructure that today's residents are relying upon. There's some pretty big shifts happening there. The other thing that we heard as well from our staff here in Hamilton is that it's not going to translate, in their opinion, to homes being built faster or homes being built more affordably. Why? Because the increased costs that might come with that development is just going to be shifted onto the new homeowner, the purchaser, that the market will determine what the prices are going to be. And so there's not going to be a real impact on affordability in terms of the homes that get built. As well, there's a lot of pieces of the process of putting these new developments into place that are being downloaded to the municipalities. So things that the Conservation Authority used to do, for example, or currently does, the things that the provincial government departments did are now going to be the responsibility of the city. And so if the idea is we want to get these things done faster, by saying to the city, now you have to take on these extra functions, these extra processes that help to make sure everything is lined up appropriately. It's just going to take longer, as opposed to having these other agencies specialize in these areas and provide that layer of scrutiny. So it's not going to be more homes any faster that are any more affordable from the perspective of the staff reports that we heard here in Hamilton.
Let's shift gears tiny bit. There's a lot of on-ground opposition to Ford's opening up the green belt. Where do you stand on that?
Oh, I've always said from day one that the green belt needs to be protected, and I think it's taking us backwards, particularly at a time when we are in a climate emergency. And this council here, the previous council, did declare the climate emergency for Hamilton. We've got a lot of environmentally sensitive areas. We are impacted by that decision to open up the green belt. And again, what our council has said very clearly is that's not something that we support. I personally don't believe that we should open up the green belt, and it's unfortunate that the government of Ontario sees things differently than so many others. We in here in Hamilton have fought very strongly to protect the greenbelt, but also to protect our own urban boundary. And you might know about that that battle as well. We have to really start doing things differently if we're going to take responsibility for our impact on the environment and climate change.
I know you're a huge Hamilton Tiger Cats fan, and I know they're not going anywhere. But Hamilton lost the honey badgers because of the renovations that are going on at the FirstOntario Centre. Are you worried about other sports teams moving out because of these renovations?
Well, of course, it's always something to be concerned about, and I know that the honey badgers are doing what they need to do for their team, which is the way it works, right? I mean, there's just no way that that activity can be happening during the construction site, during the construction phase or the renovation phase, rather, in the facility, and so they have to do what they have to do, and I respect that. I feel disappointed, obviously, that they might not be able to come back, but I think we need to wait and see what's going to happen. Those renovations need to occur. Hamiltonians deserve an upgraded stadium, or not stadium, but Coliseum or arena, if you will. So that work's got to be done. I'm hopeful that the end result is going to be amazing, and I think it will be, and that new refurbished arena is going to attract not only some of the teams that are having to find other places to operate or to play in the interim, the construction phase or the renovation phase. Not only will they come back, hopefully, but we'll see a lot of other interests as well. It's an exciting time. Yes, there's going to be short-term pain, and of course, all of the fans, myself included, all of the families that enjoy those activities that happen at the arena. Whether it's the Bulldogs, whether it's the Honey Badgers. The fact of the matter is, we're not going anywhere. We're staying here in Hamilton, and we're looking forward to a refurbished arena, and we're gonna hope that everybody comes back, and that we even expand further.
Awesome. You will now have to work with Premier Doug Ford. How is your relationship with him now? Did he call you to congratulate you?
In fact, I just found out the other day that we've been playing a bit of phone tag, so that's in the works. But he has been, even during the campaign, I do have to say the Premier was very magnanimous and very thoughtful about the fact that, as he said himself, he works with mayors from 444 different municipalities. I'm sure I've heard you I'm sure you've heard him say that as well. Right. So absolutely, I'm going to be able to work with. We're not always going to agree, but I'm in a different role now. I'm an advocate for the city of Hamilton, and I know the Premier's been here many times, and I look forward to welcoming him next time he is in Hamilton. I have been talking to a couple of ministers as well, and I'm going to continue to do that. One of the things that is I think an advantage that I have is that I do know Minister Piccini, for example, and of course I do know the Premier, and speaking to them in a different way as an advocate for my city, as opposed to an opposition leader, and the official opposition leader is it's kind of a nice change. It's more collaborative, it's more problem solving. It's a different role, and I'm embracing that role, and I'm grateful to see that they understand that as well, and I knew that they would. It's the way our democracy works at the provincial level, and now it's a different relationship as the Mayor of Hamilton.
Awesome. Fred Eisenberger, the former mayor of Hamilton's legacy, I feel, was the LRT. What's the new role ensuring that the project is successful?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. It's one of the things that I have on my list of in-depth briefings that I need to have. There's no doubt that there's going to be a lot of disruption with the building of the LRT. So what's going to be really important is making sure we stay in touch with community. That means the neighborhoods, that means the businesses all along the route. So that's something that I am very, very sensitive about. I used to represent the downtown ward when I was a city councilor here before. We did some major construction projects in a section of the downtown, and worked I worked very, very closely rather with the BIA, the business improvement areas, and the city as the city councilor to keep those lines of communications open, and to bird dog, if you will, the project. And we have to be really diligent, I think, because it is going to be disruptive, and it is going to cause challenges. But at the end of the day, again, it's one of those short-term pain for long-term gain pieces, and it helps us to really start pushing forward on other transportation network improvements as well.
Awesome. And then, outsider looking in, we always hear about Hamilton, the food scene's up and coming, it's gorgeous, the mountain, you hear so many good things about Hamilton. What does Hamilton have to do to live up to its potential?
Oh, I think we're already doing that. We have, as you mentioned, so many fantastic assets, and I think that we need to celebrate them more. I think we need to invite people into our own folks. Maybe don't even have a sense of what we have to offer, and so there are people that live in various parts of Hamilton that are in tune with their own community. So I think of places like Stony Creek, places like Ancaster and Dundas. We need some more cross-pollination of our own folks to explore everything that Hamilton has to offer. And so as we see cranes in our downtown, which we hadn't seen for decades, so we see new buildings going up, we see all kinds of things happening at our waterfront, and yet we have also these wonderful smaller towns and communities, and whether that's something like an Ancaster or a Dundas. We also have other small towns that are part of our city. There's just so much to see and so much to offer. We have an amazing trail network along the escarpment. We have fantastic restaurants, as you described, in the downtown, but in other parts of the city as well. We have all kinds of business improvement areas, BIA, so commercial districts, mom and pops, main streets, all through the city, and it's pretty exciting. Of course, the downtown's great. There's going to be some changes coming with the arena and other facilities. But we have waterfalls. I mean, you can literally hike on the trails and see the waterfalls, over 100 of them here in Hamilton. It's funny, when people move to Hamilton from other places, they're blown away. And I've heard that so many times. And I still meet people every day that say, I moved from, you choose the place. I moved from here. I moved from there. I moved from Brampton. I moved from Toronto. I moved from Oakville, and I just can't believe how fantastic Hamilton is. So we need to make sure that all of these things, including the investment that we're seeing, continues, but that we celebrate it, right? That we celebrate what we have, and we really start to toot our own horn, if you will, about how fantastic Hamilton is as we continue to build sustainably and in a way that makes sure that we build communities, not just skyscrapers and vertical housing, but also communities.
And Mayor Horwath, I'm going to ask you one last question. This is the toughest question that no mayor has ever answered. First place you ate at as soon as you became mayor in Hamilton?
I think it was Claudio's, actually, on James Street North. I think
All
it was Claudio's.
You are the first mayor to ever answer that.
I do. I think it was Claudio's on James Street North. My brother and sister-in-law wanted to take me out for dinner there in Woodstock. Of course, awesome. we were raised here, but yeah, I think it was Claudio's, James Street North. Great restaurant.
Well, Mayor Horwath, thank you so much for the interview, and congratulations.
Really nice to see you, Khaled. Thanks so much. My pleasure.